Let's think about what happens when a word or a name is brought from one language into another, but that word doesn't quite fit into the system of that new language. Should we treat it like any other native word, or should we leave it alone and not even try to adapt it? Here's an example. Data is plural in Latin, so in English, should we say data are or data is? When we bring in a foreign name or something that doesn't fit the expected patterns, sometimes we end up with variation or disagreement about the rules or just confusion. I think we can see a similar situation with foreign names in Russian. What should we do about names that don't fit this basic pattern? Before we start, I want to give credit here to gramota.ru, one of my favorite sources on Russian grammar, where you can find a long page about this, since, as they write, many native speakers and even some philologists really don't know the rules for declining foreign names. Let's break it down into a few basic points. First of all, does the name end in a consonant or a vowel? If it ends in one of these vowels, or a stressed a, then it does not take case endings. We'll just leave it alone. Вы читали Дюма? Второй роман Ли, «Джой», был выпущен в июне 2012 года. На занятиях читали стихи Евтушенко. That leaves names ending in a consonant or an unstressed a. Let's look first at the unstressed a. Они говорили о политике Обамы. Мы слушали песни Окуджавы. Names like Okudzhava and Obama end in a, just like feminine nouns, and they take feminine noun endings throughout. So we have the genitive Obamы, Okudzhavы. Remember that this is different from Russian surnames in Ova, Yeva, and Inna, which take adjective endings in 4 cases. Мы читали стихи Ахматовой. Now let's look at names ending in a consonant. For these, we'll want to consider whether we're talking about a man or a woman. Let's look at the men first. Они читали стихи Блока. Надо позвонить Поповичу. Байден обсудил ситуацию с Джонсоном, Макроном и Шольцем. Он любит фильмы с Чарли Чаплином. Masculine nouns in Russian typically end in a consonant, and when we're referring to men, these names just take noun endings. But here's one thing to be careful of. These foreign names have noun endings in every case, including the instrumental. But Russian names in ov, yev, in, take an adjective ending in the instrumental. So there's this contrast. С Chaplinom, but с Акунинным. Now, what if a woman's name ends in a consonant? That really doesn't fit the Russian system so well, so we'll just leave them alone. They won't change for case at all. Я читал книгу Любови Дмитриевны Блок. Блинкен говорил с Лиз Трасс. Шольц заменил Ангелу Меркель на посту канцлера. So we're not adding any endings at all for Blok, Liz, Truss, or Merkel. Note the contrast here between when we're referring to a man or a woman. Вот новая книга Леонида Юзефовича. А вот новая книга Галины Юзефович. Again, a name ending in a consonant, like Yuzefovich, takes masculine noun endings for a man, but when talking about a woman with the same name, Yuzefovich does not decline. Let's practice this with the authors of this textbook. How could we say the book of Anna Kudlyma, Frank Miller, and Olga Kagan, putting these names in the genitive? This familia, Kudlyma, ends in an unstressed a, so we'll treat it like a feminine noun, Kudlymy, just like we did for genitive Obamy and Okudzhavy. Frank and Miller end in consonants, and since we're referring to a male, these names will take masculine noun endings, Franka Millera. Now, Kagan also ends in a consonant, but because we're referring to a woman, Olga, it does not decline here. We don't change it at all. Это учебник Ольги Каган, Franka Millera и Анной Кудымой. Summing up. When deciding how or whether to decline a non-Russian name, consider whether it ends in a vowel or a consonant. If it ends in any of these vowels or a stressed a, then the name does not decline. Читать Harperli, Dumas, Hugo. If it ends in an unstressed a, then we'll use feminine noun endings. Слушать Okudzhavu. If it ends in a consonant and we're talking about a man, the name will take noun endings. Читать Блока. В фильме с Chapliном. Книга Леонида Юзефовича. But if it ends in a consonant and we're talking about a woman, the name will not decline at all. Учебник Ольги Каган. Слушать Галину Юзефович. And there are a few other nuances we haven't covered in this video. If you want all the details, I recommend this page at gramata.ru.